Welcome to Cataloged Clutter, where we're building sets one card at a time, no matter how overlooked or common that card might be. Today, I'm really excited to continue through this 10-card subset from the 1993 Action-Packed Hall of Fame set. Okay, we're up to card number 7 now. This is New York Knicks legend, Senator Bill Bradley. Now, every once in a while, there's an out-of-the-ordinary detail where you least expect it on a card. So, we're examining this card, we turn it over. How many of us really look at the biographical information? Not often. Look here. Drafted 1965 Territorial. We haven't seen that yet. This is the first time we've seen this with the draft. Rare to see this on a basketball card, right where the draft information should be. 1965 Territorial. We're going to talk about that. I guess we have two things to cover with this basketball card. I want to talk about the Territorial draft, and while we learn a bit about Bradley, try to guess who Action Packed chose as his rival in this set, as his matchup. See, 1993 Action Packed Hall of Fame, it's kind of unusual. It begins with a subset. The set begins with a subset called one-on-one. 10 cards, okay? Now this subset, if you didn't see the other videos, the subset pairs up players that Action Packed considered great matchups, great rivalries, okay? And we've really seen some great pairs. Cards 1 and 2, Walt Frazier and Jerry West. They actually met in the NBA Finals 3 different times. So Action Packed couldn't have done too much better there with a rivalry with the pair. Walt Frazier, Jerry West. Then there was Dave Bing, Earl Monroe. Cards 5 and 6, we had 2 powerful centers, Willis Reed and Dave Cowens. So who did Action Packed choose as Bill Bradley's pair, as his rival? Well, first clue, it is another forward. It is another forward. Okay, you probably think that's obvious. Another clue, this purple in the one-on-one logo, that's going to be important to the person he's matched up with. So forward, purple, bringing anything to mind? Yeah, we'll see. Take a look at the back. These cards are loaded with information. They're really neat from a historical perspective. And this card reminds us that Bradley was a scoring machine in college. It mentions here, look at this, posted 30.2 career points per game at Princeton. What it doesn't tell you, he averaged over 30 points per game as a freshman as well. Not just his career. A lot of points. All about the points. It mentions here he set an NCAA tournament record with 177 points in 5 games and an NCAA Final Four record with 58 points in a game versus Wichita State. They didn't win that tournament, but what a game. What a performance. 58 points there. So obviously, he was going to be drafted early. A scoring machine in college, really. Okay, so the fact that then that they were going to pick him up in the draft right away, that brings us right back here. The 1965 Territorial selection. 1965 was the last NBA draft that featured what are called territorial picks. A team could forfeit its first-round selection and then draft a player within a 50-mile radius of its home arena. And this is how the Knicks chose Bill Bradley. They picked him as their territorial pick. They do this before the draft would even begin. So, if you look up this particular draft, before selection number 1, you're going to see a few territorial selections. That's what that is. That's what that is right there. Very interesting part of NBA history. The idea was to build local support for professional teams by drafting some strong college players because they might already have a fan base in the area. You see, that was the idea. Already got a lot of fans that enjoy this player. Let's bring them into the pros. Let's keep it going. That was the philosophy there. Now, that ended after this 1965 draft. Bradley didn't start with the Knicks right away, you see. 1967 is when he started there. He was over in Europe. He was studying at Oxford and playing basketball in Italy. Now, when he got to the Knicks, he won 2 championships. Right here, 1970 and 73. So here's the next clue about who they chose as his matchup. The person that they matched up Bill Bradley with, he was playing against Bradley in that 1970 NBA Finals. Now, this is really interesting. So, like I said, the pair, Bill Bradley and this person that I'm letting you guess, they were playing against each other in the 1970 Finals. Well, guess what? Cards number 1 and 2 in this set, we already mentioned them. Walt Frazier and Jerry West. They were playing against each other in that same series. So in this 10-card subset, we have 2 matchups that actually happened in the 1970 NBA Finals. And here you're looking at one of them, Walt Frazier and Jerry West. So, have you figured out who they paired him up with yet? Obviously, it's a Los Angeles Laker. You can see New York versus Los Angeles. Forward, you got it yet? Elgin Baylor. Elgin Baylor. That's who they paired Bill Bradley up with. And like I said, the pairs of players in this one-on-one subset, they have the same color of logo. So Bradley and Baylor both have this purple, which honestly doesn't really go well with the card. But that's what it is. It's that purple logo there. So if you haven't watched the other videos, if you're not familiar with this 1993 action-packed set, in terms of an affordable way to get some history, you just can't beat the set for the price. And these cards are a much higher quality than most early 90s cards. You can see we got these rounded corners distinctive of action-packed, but these are thick stock. You see this? And the picture just kind of wraps around. They can even print some of the picture on the edge of the card there. These are thicker cards, and there's a bit of three-dimensionality to them. Nice glossy player embossed on the card. And then the background is a matte finish behind the player. Really nice cards. Really, really nice cards. Action Packed even had its own patent on this design with the rounded corners, and they would fold the card. Right here's where the fold is on that gold foil. See? Patent number 315,364. That was their patent on these cards. So, although these aren't true vintage cards, the set's still full of great Hall of Famers, absolutely loaded with information. Really, if you're going to delve into the history of the game, it's a must-have. There's some nice subsets in it. Larry Bird, Dr. J. The set does honor the 25th anniversary of the Basketball Hall of Fame. So each card mentions when the player was inducted. See 1982 here for Bill Bradley. So really a neat set of cards for the history. And because it's overlooked, you can find complete sets for under 20 bucks if you look hard enough. Neat card, neat set. Bill Bradley versus Elgin Baylor. Territorial Draft. That was new too. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.